The windshield wipers were barely keeping up with the blizzard when I saw it. A massive black Escalade parked sideways, completely sealing my garage like a steel barricade. Snow was already halfway up the tires, and the air outside was dropping so fast my breath turned to frost on the inside of the glass. I just finished a brutal 12-hour ER shift. My scrubs were soaked from the ambulance bay. My hair stuck to my forehead, and all I wanted was to pull into my own driveway. But this stranger's SUV was physically blocking me from moving my car off the street before the plows transformed our cul-de-sac into a skating rink. I rolled the window down a crack, and the wind hit my face like 1,000 icy needles. That's when I saw the HOA sticker on the back window gleaming under my headlights like some sort of twisted royal seal. Then she emerged, red coat, blonde bob, flakes plastered everywhere. Phone already aimed like she'd been rehearsing this moment. You're the nurse who parks like a millennial, right? Well, tonight, you're learning a lesson. This is my street. I decide who moves and who waits. I sat frozen, heater blasting, watching her record me with one hand while the snow tried to bury both our vehicles alive. My shift had ended with a cold blue I couldn't save. My dog was starving inside because I hadn't had time to stop at the store. And now some Karen in a luxury tank was telling me I didn't deserve to park in front of my own home during the worst storm this town had seen in 20 years. I tried reasoning first. Ma'am, I'm literally stuck in the street. The plows are 2 blocks away. If I don't move my car in the next 5 minutes, it's getting plowed in until spring. She laughed. Not a chuckle, a full-on mocking laugh, zooming her phone in on my face. Should have thought of that before you left your trash cans out until 7:03 last Tuesday. Rules are rules, sweetie. Then it hit me. This wasn't random. She knew exactly who I was. She'd been watching, waiting, and tonight, with the city under level 3 snow emergency and every tow refusing non-emergency calls, she thought she was untouchable. I asked a question that still boils my blood. Are you saying you'll leave both of us stranded over trash cans? Her smile went feral. I'm the vice president of the HOA now, and the president conveniently left town until Sunday. That makes me God tonight. She climbed back into her warm, running Escalade, locked the doors, and cranked the music loud enough that I could hear Taylor Swift over the blizzard. Then she just sat there, filming, daring me to do something while the snow climbed higher around my little Honda, threatening to turn it into an icy monument, shivering with a mix of cold and pure rage. I made the call I never thought I'd make on a night like this. The dispatcher gasped when I explained. You're telling me she's blocking your garage on purpose in this weather? Yes, I said, voice cracking, and she refuses to move. Long pause, the sound of typing, then the words that changed everything. Ma'am, that vehicle is parked in a fire lane access zone during a declared snow emergency. We're sending a city-contracted heavy wrecker, ETA 8 minutes. I glanced at Karen's SUV. She was still filming, smirking, unaware that the tow truck she assumed would never arrive was already en route. The plows rumbled closer. Snow was up to my door handles. And inside that Escalade, the woman who thought she owned the neighborhood was about to learn what happens when you pick the wrong night to play God with someone who just spent 12 hours trying to save lives. The wrecker's amber lights cut through the storm like a scene from a horror movie. When Karen saw that massive hook swing, her smug tick-tock went dead. She bolted out of the Escalade barefoot. Yes, barefoot in 2-degree snow, screaming, "This is private property. You can't touch my car." The tow driver, a mountain of a man with a beard crusted in ice, didn't even blink. He pointed at the bright red fire lane curb under the snow. "City ordinance, ma'am. Your truck is getting relocated to the impound yard. Step back before you lose a tow." Karen lost it. Total meltdown. She lunged for the hook, slipped, face planting into the snow, shrieking about lawsuits, her husband, some lawyer downtown, and how she pays extra dues for special treatment. The tow guy ignored her, chaining the Escalade like she was background noise. That's when I made my first mistake. I rolled my window down and said, "Karma's in a blizzard, huh?" Her head snapped toward me so violently I half expected she'd need a neck brace. Snow clung to her fake lashes as she stomped toward my window. Phone raised again. recording every second while the wrecker hoisted her $90,000 tank like it was a plastic toy. "You think this is over?" she hissed, voice low enough that the wind almost carried it away. "You have no idea who you just screwed with, nurse." And that's when the first real twist slammed into me like a shovel to the face. She knew my shift schedule. She knew I worked ER nights at St. Mary's. She knew my dog was a rescue, named Pickles. She rattled off fact about my life like she'd been studying my diary. 12-hour shifts, single, no ring on that finger. Mom in Florida who keeps posting about how worried she is you'll never give her grandbabies. Sound familiar? My stomach dropped straight into my boots. This wasn't about trash cans. This was personal. The record driver shouted, "Claire," as her Escalade rose higher, one tire spinning pointlessly in the air. Karen didn't even glance back at it. She was locked on me, eyes wide and unblinking, like a predator savoring the moment its prey realized what danger was really in. "You bought this house 6 months ago," she whispered, leaning close enough that her breath clouded my window. "You have any idea what used to sit on this lot before they built these cheap little boxes?" I didn't answer. I couldn't. My mouth was dry as sand. She smiled, slow, deliberate, poisonous. "Ask your realtor why they knocked 20 grand off the asking price. Ask why the old oak tree in your backyard is the only one on this street with a memorial plaque nobody mentions." The tow truck lurched forward, dragging her dangling Escalade behind it like a hunted trophy. Karen still didn't look back. She stayed locked on me, pupils dilated, snow swirling around her like she was standing in the eye of something ancient and wrong. "You're sleeping in the dead kid's bedroom, honey," she whispered, "and I'm the only one who knows what really happened to him." Then she turned and walked barefoot toward her house, leaving a trail of red footprints that vanished under fresh snow almost as soon as they touched the ground. I sat there frozen, engine idling, watching those footprints disappear while the plows roared closer and the wrecker hauled her SUV into the blizzard. My garage was finally open, but suddenly going inside felt like the worst decision I could make, because now I understood Karen hadn't blocked me in to lecture me about HOA rules. She'd done it to make sure I heard her warning tonight. And whatever she knew about my house, about that oak tree, about the boy who'd lived there before me, that was only the beginning of why she wanted me gone. I pulled into the garage with shaking hands, shut the door behind me, and for the first time since moving in, I slid the deadbolt I never bothered using. Pickles was barking like a maniac at the back window, staring at that oak tree, hackles lifted, teeth bared. Outside, the storm screamed like it was trying to add its own warning. I didn't sleep. How could I? Every creak in the house sounded like small bare feet on hardwood. Pickles refused to leave the window, growling at that oak tree until his voice turned hoarse. At 4:17 a.m., my phone lit up with a single text from an unknown number. "You open the floor." "Vent in the upstairs bedroom yet?" "Check behind the grate." Sweet dreams. My blood froze solid. I'd never told anyone, not my mom, not a single soul, that I'd been meaning to check that stuck vent because on warm days, something always smelled faintly sweet and rotten up there. Heart hammering. I crept upstairs with a screwdriver and flashlight, certain Karen could hear every beat. The grate came off with a metallic scream. Inside, wedged in dusty ductwork, was a child-sized cowboy boot, red leather, tiny brass spur still attached. Tucked inside, a Polaroid of a little boy, maybe 7, smiling in front of the oak tree, holding a hand-drawn "Welcome Home" sign dated exactly 20 years ago, the same day I closed on this house. Faded marker along the border read, "Mommy says the new family will take better care of me." I dropped the photo like it was on fire. That's when the doorbell cam exploded with alerts, motion after motion. But when I checked, nothing moved. Just the oak tree, except the branches weren't swaying in the wind anymore. They moved like something small was climbing down. Shaking, I called the non-emergency line. Voice quivering, I told the officer everything. The boot, the Polaroid, Karen's threats. Silence. 10 full seconds. Then, "Ma'am, stay inside and lock every door. We're sending 2 units. That boy's name was Ethan Miller. Karen was his mother. The pieces slammed together with gut-wrenching force. 20 years ago, Ethan vanished from this very yard. Official story? Abduction. Parents divorced. Dad left town. Mom Karen stayed, climbed the HOA ladder, quietly buying every house that came up for sale, except mine. Mine was the original house, built on the exact spot Ethan was last seen alive. She didn't hate me over trash cans or parking. She hated me because I was sleeping in her dead son's room, raising a dog in his yard, living the life she believed was stolen from him. Officers arrived with a detective from the original case. They found Karen barefoot on my porch, nightgown clinging, lips blue from hypothermia, clutching a child's winter coat adorned with 2005 Disney World pins. Tears froze on her cheeks as she whispered, "I just wanted you to know he was real. I block every new owner the first big snow, so they feel trapped the same way he did when he couldn't get back inside." She handed over a flash drive, hundreds of photos, videos, diary scans. Proof Ethan had been locked in that upstairs room by his father during a psychotic episode, buried under the oak tree that first blizzard night, and Karen covered it up to protect the family's image. For 2 decades, she tried to scare every new owner off before they could remodel, dig, or find what remained of her baby. She didn't want me gone out of madness. She wanted me gone because I was the only thing standing between her husband's confession and her son finally coming home. The detective played the last video in the drive. Ethan, blue-faced, banging inside the floor vent, crying, "Mommy, it's cold." Karen's younger voice whispered from the other side, "Sure, baby, just until Daddy calms down." She never let him out. She chose the marriage over her child. For 20 years, she punished every new family for surviving when her little boy didn't. Karen was arrested at sunrise. The oak tree came down 2 days later. They found Ethan wrapped in a Spider-Man blanket, exactly where she knew he'd be. I sold the house back to the city for $1. They're turning it into a memorial playground. Her last words in court, soft as falling snow: "Thank you for being braver than I ever was." Some storms don't bring snow. Some bring ghosts waiting 20 years to come home. And sometimes the scariest monster isn't the one blocking your garage. It's the one who waves every morning while her son's bones lie under your swing set. If you enjoyed this story, hit that subscribe button. Every subscription motivates me to bring even more dramatic HOA tales. Tap the bell icon so you never miss a new upload. I'll see you in the next story, where justice gets even sweeter.